Breaking news. National Security Service arrests key Machar allies in Rumbek. As tensions rise, Machar urges UN to intervene over Ugandan forces. Fears of clashes grow west of Juba. News in detail, March 24, 2025. Juba. Armed clashes erupted at Wunliet military camp, a cantonment site for the SPLA-IO west of Juba, as forces loyal to First Vice President Riek Machar and the South Sudan People's Defense Forces, SSPDF, blamed each other for the outbreak of violence. SPLA-IO spokesperson Colonel Lam Paul Gabriel stated that SSPDF forces bombarded the camp around 1900 hours on Monday, calling it a provocative act and a clear violation of the 2018 revitalized peace agreement. He urged urgent international intervention to prevent further escalation. Meanwhile, SSPDF spokesperson Major General Lol Ruai Koang declined to comment, but previously indicated that government forces were closely monitoring SPLA-IO movements near Juba, citing increased military activity. Allegations of foreign involvement unverified reports suggest a gunship allegedly operated by Ugandan forces bombed the Wunliet camp. However, these claims remain unconfirmed. Calls for de-escalation. South Sudanese civil society leader Edmund Yakani condemned the attack as a serious setback for the peace agreement and urged IGAD and the international community to act swiftly. With tensions mounting, fears of renewed conflict in South Sudan are rising, prompting urgent diplomatic intervention. Lakes State. South Sudan's National Security Service, NSS, has arrested Isaiah Akol Mathiang, deputy governor of Lakes State and a senior SPLM-IO official, along with several others. The arrested individuals include Atar Akolde, state lawmaker; Guy Magok, Minister of Animal Resources; Mandela Machek, SPLM-IO Youth League chairperson. The detentions occurred just one day after Akol Mathiang condemned alleged airstrikes by South Sudanese and Ugandan forces in Upper Nile State. Opposition. Arrests are politically motivated. An SPLM-IO official linked the arrests to Mathiang's recent statement in which he accused the government of violating the 2018 peace deal and using chemical weapons in airstrikes against civilians. Detainees' location. Unknown. SPLM-IO lawmaker Daniel Juol Nomgek confirmed the arrests, but said their whereabouts remain unclear. Reports suggest some detainees are held at NSS headquarters in Rumbek. With growing tensions between President Salva Kiir's government and Machar's faction, these detentions add to widespread concerns over political instability. Machar calls for UN, AU, and IGAD to intervene over Uganda's military presence. March 24, 2025, Juba. South Sudan's first Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar, has formally requested the United Nations, African Union, and IGAD to intervene following Uganda's military deployment in South Sudan. In a letter dated March 23, Machar accused Uganda of violating international agreements by sending troops without approval from South Sudan's transitional government. He warned that Uganda's presence breaches the 2018 Revitalized Peace Agreement, RARCSS, and threatens the country's transition to democracy. Violation of peace deal and airstrike allegations. Machar's letter also accuses Uganda of conducting airstrikes in Upper Nile and Jonglei states, targeting civilian areas. Uganda's government has not yet responded to the allegations. Machar. Uganda is undermining the peace process. He criticized Uganda's role, stating, Uganda was a key guarantor of the peace agreement. We expected President Museveni to support its implementation, not undermine it. How did Ugandan forces enter despite UN arms embargo? With the UN maintaining an arms embargo on South Sudan since 2018, questions remain on how Ugandan forces entered with heavy weaponry. 2 weeks ago, Uganda deployed special forces amid fears that South Sudan is on the brink of renewed civil war. As the crisis unfolds, pressure is mounting for urgent diplomatic mediation to prevent further escalation. This is a developing story. Stay tuned for updates.